Whiteboard is out. I think we know what's happening, mate.
Yeah, combined 11 based on this season only.
Ooh.
Now, I've seen the lists.
Yeah.
And it is, it's quite amicable.
Is
It's
it?
quite amicable. So we're going to have to throw in some rogue shouts in there as well, I think. We'll
Is that
go
a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's two, very solid sounding guests.
Yeah.
Let's start with goalkeepers, shall we? Combined 11 based on this season. Who should be in net?
Let's see you've got.
Okay.
Agreement.
We've agreed.
David, right?
This is one of the obvious ones, isn't it, Rob?
Yeah, I think if you disagree with this one, I might be walking out. I think it is the most obvious one. I think, he's had a really good season, actually. The start of the season, really impressive, made some huge saves, double saves, and relative to Robert Sanchez, who I take it from most Chelsea fans is not the most favoured Chelsea player at the moment. David Raya gets in there, doesn't he?
Yeah, for me, Sanchez has made too many individual errors. Even when he's having a good game, and you think everything's comfortable and everything's easy going, he still manages to throw up a can of worms. And I think with Raya, he hasn't actually been as protected as usual. I think last season, obviously, he got the Golden Glove, but Arsenal defensively were just flawless. This season, there has been goals conceded to, newly promoted teams, but he's been pulling off some big saves. I remember the Aston Villa game, unbelievable performance. Yeah. And I think he just brings a lot more assurance to the back line. He's not as nervy as Sanchez. So, yeah.
Interestingly, Sanchez has actually got a better save ratio in the Premier League this season than Raya, but I think we can all agree Raya individually has been immense. I think what Raya's done so well is the fact that he's had massive moments in big games. You think of the double save against Villa, you think of the one in Europe as well. Where does he rank in terms of the best keepers in the entire league this season, would you say?
Yeah, I think he's probably up there number one, dare I say. Obviously, Alisson's had injury issues. Outside of that, Vicario, who had a great start last season, dropped away a bit. So, I'd probably put him at number one this season.
OK, stick him up. Just goes beneath.
In the middle, we've all seen it before. Let's go to right back then. We'll just do one of them. Right back. Are we going to have disagreement at right back?
Joe wants disagreement. I don't think you're going to get it, Joe.
Oh, my God, you went with the same player?
I went with Jurien.
OK, this is where I thought there'd be some disagreement, because I thought you were going to go with Ben White. And I was sneaky because he's been playing left-back a bit, and I thought, let me just move him over.
Where is Ben White?
Ben White is, I think, slightly behind Timber in the pecking order if we're at full fitness.
Really?
Yeah, because I think Calafiori's impact at left-back was significant. Obviously, he's been injured again. I also think Ben White is carrying some sort of injury still. We know he played through an injury for most of last season because we had no choice. And fair play to him. Arteta said time and time again he will run through a brick wall for you, but I think that comes with consequences. And we've seen it this season. Last season we were used to seeing Ben White constantly overlapping Saka and getting back defensively, absolute workhorse. And this season, especially offensively, he's just not quite provided that support, whereas Timber, admittedly, he hasn't actually played much at right-back. He's played predominantly at left-back, but when he did play at right-back, against Leicester, he was matching Trent Alexander-Arnold's numbers for creative output. I think across both teams, if there was one right-back that's played exceptionally, it's Timber.
If Reece James was fully fit...
Yes.
...and was consistently playing, would he be ahead of Timber in this pecking order?
100%. 100%. I think the only reason why I haven't selected him is purely because he's only played a couple of games. He's just come back from injuries. He's also been playing left-back a little bit in a different role, kind of inverting or moving into the back three. And he's just got to build up that consistency. But for me, when Reece James is fit and available and playing at his level, I think he's the best left-back in the league. I think he has the best balance.
That's left-back?
Sorry, best... See, look, that's why he's been playing left-back so often. Now I'm calling him a left-back, but best right-back in the league. His balance between defence, attack, his crossing ability, his defensive ability, 1v1, I think he would be the best.
Best right-back in the league, Rob?
Yeah.
No, for me it's still Trent anyway, but also it's that if and when Reece James is fit is the biggest if and when you will ever see. So at this point, no, for me it would be...
He's playing this weekend.
He is playing this weekend. Do you reckon he'll be a right-back though?
I hope so. That's why I would like to see him, yeah, but...
Well, we don't have the magnet because you both picked Timber, so stick him up.
Let's get Timber up.
Let's reveal we always do centre-backs together as a pairing now. Have we got any disagreement?
Any Chelsea players yet?
Yeah.
Is this going to be Matisse? I see both of you centre-backs. Both of them as a pair.
I'm making a comeback. I hope. Sorry. I'm making a comeback. Hopefully later on in the video, because I do believe that Arsenal's defence is better than ours from an individual level. Obviously, yes, this season from the defensive record standpoint, we're both quite close in goals conceded.
Very similar.
But just in general, in terms of their individual quality, I still believe they're better. And I don't think last season and the season before was a fluke, so I have to give them credit for that. And I think even from set pieces as well, they have a threat, which we don't have, so that's an extra kind of
Very
point
honest from Matisse. No Chelsea player yet in his entire team. Rory, Was this an obvious one for you? Where do they rank in terms of the best centre-back pairings in the Premier League for you?
Yeah, I think that's still probably the best centre-back pairing in the league, just because you don't, the other pairings, you don't really see a pairing at City. I mean, Van Dijk and Konate this season, I will admit, have been really impressive, and I think maybe that's to do with Konate staying fit for longer than normal. Yeah. But for me, once we've got a settled team, these two are back playing consistently. I think they're the best too.
Interesting, Arsenal have conceded a lot of goals, though. There's a stat doing the rounds this week about the fact that they've conceded the same amount of goals with that pairing as Tottenham have, playing that high line. Obviously, Liverpool conceded a lot less. I think I would agree they are the best pairing in the Premier League. But what do you put that down to, the amount of goals you have conceded this year, with the quality that you have in defence?
Yeah, I think there's a number of things. I think one is the lack of rhythm and consistency with the full-back pairings. So I think I've seen about 5 different right-backs and 6 different left-backs this season, right? So I think that doesn't help. Obviously, I think we've maybe 4 of the 11 goals we've conceded have been when we're down to 10 men. So that's a different kind of scenario. And outside of that, you look at other goals we've conceded. Isak's goal is kind of a worldie. That I think the cross, the goal,
great goal.
So I think there's context to most of them. Yeah. I think Saliba would probably admit he's not quite been as or at the level that he was last season. Gabriel, for me, has stepped up, and I think
he's been brilliant.
Arguably being the better of the two. But yeah, I'm looking forward to if we can just get into a bit of a rhythm.
All right, stick them up. Total agreement, top pairing, as you say.
See if we finally get a Chelsea
and it's full Arsenal. Rory, you must be loving this so far, mate. Davey on the show, and you've
full Arsenal.
Easy for you, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, let's see left-backs.
Let's see what you got.
This is where we start to make a bit of a comeback.
Also, they haven't disagreed on anything yet.
No, it's all agreement
I'm shocked,
so
honestly.
far.
I didn't actually know he would.
It's all agreement. I'm surprised that Cucurella over the Timber in the left-back role, potentially, people might be saying.
Yeah, I think but based upon these two teams, I think he's got to be in this team purely because of his performances when he is playing. I know last couple of games, Reece James has come in. They've changed the balance with Colwell going into the middle of the defence in the back three, and Gusto's started a lot. But when this guy plays, he's been fantastic. He's tenacious, he's aggressive, he's been winning his tackles and his duels. And he's been a bit of a leader, not obviously literally with the armband, but just the way he applies himself. And he had incredible Euros as well.
Oh, let's not talk about it.
I know, I'm sorry, but I know it doesn't count.
Because I remember, last summer, he was, close to joining Man United on loan, wasn't he? So how has this turnaround happened where he's now a key player in your 11?
I think you make I think the Euros was massive for him, wasn't it, in terms of the confidence and the tournament that he had.
Massive, and I think also just before we ended last season, Poch changed the system a little bit and he inverted him. He started using him as an inverted left-back and coming into midfield. And honestly, ever since he's playing that role, coming into midfield, being kind of almost like an 8, almost similar to Udogie at Tottenham at times when he's inverting, underlapping, he's just got a new lease of life. So he's really, really performing very well, honestly.
Let's get him up, man.
Stick him up. Let's go to the midfield. Should we start with
defensive mid.
Defensive mid.
There's an omission here, isn't there?
You've both gone with the same
Rory's
player.
Perspective.
Right, so you've got the same...
Oh, you have got the same one.
Let's have a two. Sorry, you've got
We'll go both.
So you've both got Caicedo and Partey, which means you've both not got Declan Rice. So Rory is an Arsenal fan. Why is Declan Rice not in your combined 11?
It's a tricky one because obviously he was such a massive player for us last season, and I don't want to discredit him from this season, but I do think there's been a little bit of a drop-off. I think he's tired. I really do believe that he is tired. I think he plays, relentless. His style is relentless.
All the time, doesn't he?
Constantly running. He's done the same for England throughout the Euros, didn't get a rest coming back. And equally, Thomas Partey has really stepped up this season. I think not many Arsenal fans expected him to really recover. I think he's already played more minutes this season than he did last season. Tough choice. The Liverpool game, Declan Rice, that was the Declan Rice we're used to seeing. Yeah. That was an excellent game, but I feel like that's one of the few games that we've actually seen him at that level this season.
Caicedo v Rice, I've seen a lot of debate going around this year. Obviously, Rice has been immense for many years now, but Caicedo's having a good season for Chelsea. Where do you stand on the Caicedo-Rice debate that was bubbling on social?
I think it comes from the fact that we were linked with Rice for many, many years. I think Lampard really liked him. He obviously had a lot of friends in our dressing room as well. But Caicedo this season statistically is been incredible. And the thing is with Caicedo is that I think that maybe Rice has to improve in his game, is just being a bit more of a dictator in the midfield and getting on the ball and progressing it a bit more, which is what Partey does. Caicedo does that for us. He's set up chances for Jackson this season, as well as winning the ball back, as well as, you know, really sometimes having to carry a bit in the midfield with Enzo not playing as well. Lavia just come back from injury, so yeah.
Let's stick them both on then.
Goal against United, let's stick them both.
Most tackles and interceptions combined in the Premier League this season. Caicedo, so you're right, he's having a very good season.
Surely the attacking mid's easy.
The attacking mid is easy. Both got Cole Palmer.
What do you mean? Oh, because
if Ødegaard was fit,
still no, because he's not played this season. So on this season, you can't put him in. But I do think it's a very close call.
Really?
Ødegaard v Palmer, close call.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they're slightly different, right? I think Ødegaard does a lot more. I mean, you've seen Palmer dropping deeper this season, and he does work really well there. But I think the way that Ødegaard controls the game, runs the game, big games, he steps up, which perhaps Cole Palmer doesn't.
Do you not think he scored in the final of the Euros?
Yeah, but outside of that, we're talking Premier League here. And Premier League big games.
So this season in the Premier League, no doubt in the big games, he's not been at his level. I still think at times in those games, he has shown moments where you're thinking that's still a top player, but he hasn't been good over the course of the game. But last season, if Man United are still a Big Six club, which I'm assuming they are, he scored 4 goals, I believe. So it's up to you if he's, you know, if it counts or not. But he last season against Big Six clubs, Man City, a lot of pressure playing against Pep and his old club. Arsenal, you know, at Stamford Bridge, you know, so he can turn up. And in the Euros.
And he scored in the final, just to reiterate, the final of the Euros, the biggest game of his life.
And assisted Watkins when he came on.
And exactly the same.
Let's get about that. It's an obvious one. Right wing, should we do? Because this is an obvious one, isn't it?
Yes.
Saka there, right?
Yeah, no debate.
Absolutely.
No debate.
Yeah, let's get Saka up and we'll talk about some ones where there's actually a bit of debate in this
Most
forward line.
assists in the Premier League this season, Saka.
Right. On the left wing, you wanted to cheat here, didn't you, Rory, originally?
Well, you call it cheating.
Come on, what
I
happens?
call it managerial nous. No, I would have put Nicholas Jackson there so that I could fit another Arsenal player in. But apparently that wasn't allowed. So,
have you seen this show?
So why have you gone Pedro Neto and you've gone Jadon Sancho? Because you're a Chelsea fan, but you've got 2 different left wingers.
I'll be honest, this is like so difficult to choose between. I was very close to going with Neto as well, so it was almost literally like for like. The only reason why I went with Sancho is purely because I think he's played more minutes or more games at left wing, where sometimes Neto's at right, and he's got 3 assists. Neto's got 2. He actually started the season really, really well. Then he picked up an illness. I think he's got an injury, had a couple of quiet games, and then he's kind of not been involved. But Neto recently has been our best winger.
As a Chelsea fan, who will have the bigger Chelsea legacy out of these two, Sancho or Neto? A few years down the line.
Oh, if Neto can keep himself fit, and we can, there's a lot of ifs here, but if we can get a striker that can head the ball in the box, his crossing will be immense for that player.
Okay, so it sounds like you're happy to concede.
Yeah, I'm more than happy. They're both very close.
Okay.
You would have... You're happy with that, Raw? Neto?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I wanted Pedro Neto in the summer. I'm a massive fan of him.
Yeah.
So frustrating that he's at Chelsea. He's one of those players, I think he's a bit of a game breaker. He can change a game.
I actually think if he does stay injury-free, I think there is an unbelievable player there that if he stays injury-free, it'd be technically so good. And he's an unbelievable person to interview, isn't he?
Yeah.
So elite level.
Strikers then.
Strikers.
No Kai Havertz, Raw. You've bottled it.
You know what? I did. I bottled it. No, well, this was what I wanted: Jackson left wing, Havertz up top. But no,
9, you've gone with Jackson.
I've gone Jackson, and I think
a better
it's
9 than Havertz.
Well, that's a different question.
He is.
I've been.
Is he though?
Who's a better number 9?
He is.
Kai Havertz. But
You pick Jackson.
So the issue is Arteta, for unknown reasons, in my opinion, has, in the absence of Ødegaard, started throwing Havertz a bit more into midfield.
Yeah.
And that has cost us, in my opinion. You know, Havertz was on an unbelievable run of form, contributing almost every game. But we've not seen that in a few weeks, so maybe recency bias has hit me. I also think, like, genuinely, biases aside, Jackson has impressed me, not just this season. I actually think, you know, he's one of those players got labelled as a bit of a flop early doors, and people take time to go back on their word on that. End of last season, I thought he really started kicking into gear, and he's a real handful.
Yeah.
So the debate that Havertz, Jackson. Who do you think scores more goals this season in the Premier League out of the two?
I think Jackson's got more at the moment. He's got 6 in the Prem, I think, 3 assists.
6 goals, 3 assists for Jackson, 4 goals, 1 assist for Havertz. But as you quite rightly say, to be fair, Havertz been playing different positions and stuff. But you think Jackson will?
I think he will. For me, he's the only striker at the club that really is a recognised striker. I think Nkuku's more of a 10, so he has to play every game. He's quite durable. And I think with him, he's just you can see his personality is getting bigger in his personality. He's starting to really take on the role, the responsibility. He's maturing. And I like his all-round play. I've always said it. I think his hold-up play is very good. His press is brilliant. Why Maresca loves using him. He drops into the midfield and links up play and drives with the ball. And his finishing is improving. That finish at Anfield was really good to see, the 1v1. Yep. And yeah, I think he's a really, really good player.
Okay, stick him up.
Really underrated now, Nicholas Jackson.
Yeah.
He's an absolute top striker.
Yeah. There is confirmation of the combined 11 based on this season. 5 Chelsea, 6 Arsenal. Let us know what you think of that at home.